Papa Solio, what advantages or disadvantages are there in seated overhead press versus standing? Um, well, advantages, I would say it depends on how you look at an advantage. So I think, for example, standing is more realistic. Standing is going to be more skeletal overload. It's going to be more core intensive. So anytime you're doing an overhead movement, it's maximizing core activation because when you're holding a weight overhead, you're it's like Jenga. Every single aspect of your musculature are activated in order to keep your joints, your ligaments, everything in proper, in proper alignment. So there's a lot going on, especially when you're doing any kind of overhead work. Seated would take your legs out of the equation, of course, and it would be a much more strict movement. Now, the problem with seated is what do you usually get when people are seated? You get the arch of the century and people are fucking doing like an incline press on a seated press machine. So I think it depends on what equipment you have available. If you're going to do an overhead press, there's nothing wrong with doing both of them. I would recommend using dumbbells instead of a barbell. You can also use a hex bar and do it like that. You just want to have your shoulders in a better position. Now, some of you saw the bar. I should do a video on this, but some of you saw the bar that I got on Thursday. I took a picture and I posted it in the Telegram chat, but it's a really high end bar that I got locally, and it's an angled bar. You've probably seen those football bars with like the square, those like slanted angles, but this has a divot in the center for where the head can go. So if you're doing a curl, it's not going to hit your face. And if you're doing an overhead press, it'll clear your face because it has a cutout and angled handles. So you can keep your shoulders at a better angle rather than, really far out to the side, bending your head back and trying to find that clearance. So there's definitely advantages. Personally, I do, when I do overhead press or I'm doing anterior deltoid, work, you'll be doing like cleans and presses with a kettlebell or snatches or doing standing. Personally, I don't like necessarily doing seated, but you can.